Test, test.
You have 7 minutes more. We start at 11.
Yeah.
So, do you want to start earlier? Or we should wait until people come up? Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
Okay. I will tell them that we start at 11. Okay.
Okay.
Most of you guys are already here. The schedule is we start at 11 for this session, so let's wait another around 7 minutes before we start. Okay, hi everybody. I hope everyone can get a seat. So we want to start our first English session for today. Our first speaker is Hsin-Yi Chen from Taiwan. He is currently a software engineer for Canonical, which is the sponsor for Ubuntu. Can users of Ubuntu raise your hands? So you have many users. Okay. Hsin-Yi Chen or Hai Chen, he have been very active in the Asian in PyCon in the Asian region. So he was also a speaker for PyCon.JP last year, and he was also a speaker for the PyCon.JP PyCon Taiwan that they did this year. So today Hai Chen will be talking about Python type and objects, and I'll leave it next to you. Pass it to you.
Hello everyone. My name is Chen Hsin-Yi. You can call me Hai Chen. And today I will introduce the Python type and object. Which so before, as he mentioned, I am currently working in Canonical. But I am on vacation. Don't let me. Don't. I mean I am recently is interested in programming language theory, and we also learning functional programming, like Haskell or Camel. So this is the outline today. The first, I will talk about why I care this topic, and then I will explain the two different objects. The first one is type object, and the second is non-type object, and how type create a class, and how to subclass a class, and then explain what is best class object. And for anyone who was programming in metaclass probably, does anyone use metaclass in your project? Okay, so this I start to learn Python object model because I was so confused while I am learning metaclass programming, because it's too magic, and I was so confused on type is class, and class is type is class, and the big problem to me is I usually don't understand which method or attributes are bound or unbound. I am so confused. So I start to learn the Python type and the object model, and okay, this is the four steps, or where you are creating a object. It has 4 steps, but we will talk more in the detail later. The first things please keep in mind is everything are object, and the second thing is please forget anything you learned about class from other programming language like Java or C++, because it's very, very different. Okay, so this slide is to explain the relationship of type and its instance. Here we have list of number 1 and integer 2. Here we have a function named get_attr, which is used to get an attribute from an object like this class underscore class attribute. This is used to know the list type. So this is the first type object. And we can also use another function named type to know a list, a type of a list. So I was talking about an instance of a type. A list is actually a non-type object. So now type objects are instances of types, and they are not. They cannot be subclassed, and also you cannot instantiate. I have some example. The first one is integer number. This is a non-type object, and the second is also a non-type object. And like integer number, float number, string, or Unicode, these are non-type objects. And the type of non-type object provides some basic methods and attributes. Here, the left block is an example. We assign a list to L, and and the L is a non-type object, and we can call its method append an integer 4. So the result is here, but we can also use its type. L's type is list type. We can just use list dot append, and the first argument is L, which is a non-type object, and the second one is an integer. So we do different way, but get the same result. And the very difference one thing is the first append method of L is bound. The second type list append method is unbound. So if you want to use unbound method, you need to pass an object to this function. In another word, the unbound method is a static method. Here is another example. We have integer 5 plus integer 6, and here this is the result. And we can also use the type of integer number, which is type int. Use the underscore add method to add to does the same thing of this expression. And we can also use get_attr to get the attribute of integer 5, which is a bound method, and then pass another arguments. So these are we can use different way to get the same result. And if you use a plus operator but has different type of object okay, we have first one is a list, and the second one is list, and we use a plus operator, but we got a different result when we evaluate this expression, because the add method defined in type of list does different thing. Okay. But if you mix different type of object, you will get a exception, which is a type error. So Python is a strong type. The type will not be converted to another type by interpreter, so you must be careful the type of your object. And the second thing is Python is dynamic type. The type can be created in runtime. I will introduce the method to create a new type in interpreter. Okay, then we already introduced the non-type object. Then here is the type object, which also are objects and are used to represent abstract data types. Like this is for integer number, this is for list, and this for string, and R and R. And the type object can be subclassed almost. I mean almost is some built-in type cannot be subclassed, like a function type. And you can use type object to create another object. And the type objects are also a factory function to create their instance, like this. The 5 is a non-type object, and the int is a function to accept integer number 5, and this is a send object, and so on, all do the same thing. So if you are interested in the built-in types, you can import a module named types and to check the element of its dictionary. So here we have Boolean type, buff type, and or float type. That was we usually used. So here is a rule to determine to check the object is a type object or non-type object. The rule is if an object is an instance of this special type, then it's a type object. Otherwise, it's not a type object. You can use the type function to get an object type. So type object can not only create a non-type object, it can also create an type object. The class we use is actually an instance of type, which is also a type object, because as I said, the type object can create a new instance, and also you can subclass it. So, and here you need to remind that this special type is also an instance of itself. Okay. When we want to create a class, we use a special type named type. It's a type object or type, and it's also a function to get the type of an object. And also you can use this function to create a new class object. Here, you get 3 arguments and create a new type. And also you get an object to return a object type. Okay, now this is the, if you want to create a class in your interpreter, you can type these two code, this one. The first argument is the class name, your new class. And the second is the parent class of your new class. And the second one is a dictionary of static methods and the attributes of the class. And this expression can be separated to two steps. The first one is new, and the second one is init. So the new method is to create a new instance of an tab with some arguments, and the init is to initial the class you just created. So when you want to create a class, you first you assign a base tab, and the second the class name, and this class will inherent from which class, and its methods and the attributes. So you can do some trick here. You can define initial function, which is name dar. Okay, we cannot use a name dar. Okay. So if you give a hello and you give it, so you can give a special dictionary, then this class will have the attribute that you just defined here. And we can put it together. There is a special method which named underscore call. If you define this method, then your object will be callable object. So and the call method is include two steps to create a new instance of tab and then initiate. And then now we come to the general way when we define a class. This statement is I define a class named my class. It's subclass from an base object, a base class object. When I create a class, it actually uses its base class object tab to create the new instance. So you have another way to change the tab, but you want to keep the base class object. This method is called metaprogramming. I will introduce later. And if you okay, so if you want to change the tab to another tab of a base object, you can assign a special type you create to an attribute metaclass of this class. So it will not use the base object type to create a new instance. Instead, it will use the special class. And this class is what I use to trace the class creation, which is this picture you just saw before. Okay, let's focus on type create a class. You first create a new instance of a type, and then initial, and then okay, and then you can use the class to generate a non-type object, which is use the call method of a class. This method is different of the call method of type. Okay, and then in general, we only define the initial methods when you create a class. And the initial method does not return any result. It just modify your object, your class object, the attributes. So you can use this class, but this initial method with another object. You can pass another class object, not only my class object. And as I mentioned, object is a base object. So I will explain what is a base class object. If you type PYDOC in your terminal, you can get the helper message. So this is the basic class object of our object, and it defines and base object will have basic methods and attributes like. Okay. Here is a type object, but if you check the base, it will say its base object is object type. So you can use this attribute to know the base object of an object. A class object. The non-type object does not have this attribute, but its type has. So you can use a class attribute to get its type and use its type's base attribute to know its base object. So if you are interested in the, you can use this function, this instance. Integer 1 is an instance of object class object. This is a type object. In another word, is a class object. It's a little bit confused, so please keep it in mind. When I call this object, it's actually a class object, not an okay, whatever. So you can see even a non-lambda function is also an instance of a object class. And also, layer type is also an instance of object class. Okay, I was mentioned that some types cannot be subclassed. This is the one. The function type cannot be subclassed. Okay. You will get a type error. It said function is not an acceptable base type, so you cannot subclass this type. Okay. If you ever programming in JavaScript, you will know its prototype chain, and it's a little similar to Python base class, but the prototype chain in JavaScript is a linked list. Here, when we want to create a class, we use a function object, and its prototype is a object prototype, and the prototype of object is undefined. And when we want to use my class to create a new instance, is actually to use its copy a prototype. It's will copy a prototype of my class. So you will have a new instance of my class, and then you write the my class function to modify your new instance. The magic is this keyword will rebind to new instance. So I will not to talk this too detail, but it's very interesting. You can study by yourself. And in Python, it uses a tuple, which is an immutable list to record the base class. You can think that is a prototype in JavaScript way. So this is why Python can have multiple parent class. You can the basic base up class is object class object, and you can define another my base class. So you will have two parent class. When you generate a new instance, it will also have the methods and the attributes of these two base class. Okay, now here is the really interesting things to subclassing a type. When you want to programming metaclass, you need to create your own type. So you will do some hijack or do some hack to in class creation. I can show an example how metaclass works. Okay, here I have a class named book. Its base class is an object class, and then I change its type to a countable type, which is I defined here. I will explain later. So when I use this class to create an instance, the class will counting its instance by automatically. So I don't do anything, just change the type of the book class. Then I have a different result. If I don't use this meta class, I get an error because the attribute of counter does not define it in the book class. Does anyone have a question here? Okay. This is the template when you want to create your own type. You need to define 3 methods: new, initial, and the call. And I usually confused is this call. What does it? Because I was usually confused this call method with type call method. You can see the code here. This method is used to create a new class, and not to create a new class, to create a new object and initial object by using the class created by your new type. So you can modify the basis argument to insert some class in your new in your new class. I mean, okay. Now I define a class named new base. And it has an attribute named PyCon.JP. And now I want to hack the new method. Okay, now I want to use this type to create a class.
Okay, I think you misspelled the variable line 8.
Oh, sorry?
Line 8, you misspelled the variable on line 8.
Line in.
This is line 8.
Oh, okay, sorry. Okay. So now the new class will have a additional new base class. So you can use this attribute, base attribute, to a basis to know the base classes of this class. Here. So I do some hack in the new method. So when I define a class, I just need to change its meta class to my type. Then I don't need to do anything. The base class will be modified. Yeah, sorry. Oh, I have some error. Okay, I will fix later. Okay, so you can modify the basis argument, and also you can modify the dictionary here. And the one thing you need to keep in mind is the basis class cannot be modified if your class is generated, it is created like this. Now we have a class A, and I want to modify its base class. Okay, it will say that this attribute is read-only attribute. But if you programming in JavaScript, then you are very surprised its prototype can be changed. But in Python, you cannot change. Okay, then we talk the initial method. Let's remove the code, and we have a new name here. You can see its class name does not be modified because this class name is already defined in new method. So when you do in meta class programming, you need to care for the attribute you want to modify is a class attribute or a type attribute. And also, you need to check the attribute is created in new or created in initial. You need to do some testing to understand the rules, or read the PEP document. Okay. And now there is a call method you can use also. And in this method, you can let a class does not return any instance because you override its call method, and the call method only return non-object. So it's very tricky. Okay. So it's very tricky here. If you want to modify the call method, you need to remember. Okay. Also. You need to remember return an object, or you can just combine those functions. Those called to new class call. Then your call method will work correctly. Okay. Dash call. New case. Oh, sorry. You cannot define the dash call here because this call method defined in type is actually a call method of new class. But the call method of a new class will be bound method. But if you just print the class call here, it will say it's unbound. So I usually confuse in here. So if you are interested in this topic, you can read the Python descriptor protocol, which is defined in PEP document. And this is a roughly rule, so you can check it later because I don't have enough time and I have too many slides. Okay, here this is the notes for metaclass programming, where the new and the core method of type is unbound, and the new method of a class is bound. So you can play this by yourself to understand how it works. But the initial method of type is a bound method of type object, and the initial method, core method, is a bound method of a class object. And this is a picture I took from the Python type and the object document. And this is very clear relationship between the metaclass and the classes and the instance. So type create non-type object, and also type can create a class, and the class creates non-type object. And the objects are instance of classes, and the classes are instance of types. And the object class is base class of all classes, and the type is metaclass of all classes. So this is very similar to JavaScript, which is an prototype-based language. I was talked about this topic in this year in COSCUP conference, and I upload a slide in SlideShare. If you are interested, you can check that, and correct me if I have any misunderstanding. Okay, this is some reference. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Hsin. Maybe we have time for one question. Does anyone have any questions for Hsin?
Simple question. Simple question. So, is instance is a non-type object equal? Instance and non-type object are equal? Same? So, there is a term instance, and there is a term non-type objects. Are they same? Non-type object.
The question is the term instance has the same meaning of term non-type object. It's not the same. The instance means an object is created by another object. Like, for example, integer number 5 is an instance of type integer, which integer number is non-type, so it's instance of a type. So the term has different meaning when you call the object is non-type or type. Here, the slide here. Non-type object is an instance of type, but non-type object is also an instance of a class, and the class is a type object, but it's an instance of a type object. Do you get it? Okay, thank you.
Okay, can we have another round of applause for Hsin? Okay, right. Next will be lunchtime, and we have 3 announcements. First, the PyCon 2012 party tonight after our first day of PyCon.JP, and registrations can be done from lunchtime onwards on the 2nd floor where you got your name tags. Okay, so the party is tonight, so you need to register today before the party. We still have some space left. The second is that concerning T-shirts, the PyCon.JP T-shirts, if your name tag has the word, the letter T at the bottom there, you are entitled to get your own T-shirt, and you can get your PyCon T-shirts on the 2nd floor where you got the tags from lunchtime onwards. And the third announcement is we still have space for the LT, English LT. You can register for your LT on the 2nd floor too, from now onwards. Okay, and lunch, I think you guys, next will be lunch. You can have your lunch in the cafeteria at the 2nd floor.